Today, I'm going to share 5 specific signs that your life is preparing for a new chapter. And if you recognize even 2 or 3 of these, you're not falling apart. You're actually right on schedule. Pay close attention to sign 3. It's the one that most women misread. If we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Linda, retired educator and nonprofit leader, and a woman in her 60s who's rebuilt her life more than once. I help women over 50 reinvent their lives and build a meaningful next chapter without burning down everything they've spent decades building. I've watched this pattern unfold in women who achieved exactly what they set out to achieve, women who, by every measure, built a successful life, and yet they message me and say some version of the same thing. I don't know why I feel this way. Something just feels off. Well, here's what I tell every one of them. That feeling isn't a warning sign. It's a beginning. Let's look at 5 signals that life is preparing you for something new. And as we go through, I want you to quietly ask yourself, is this me? Sign 1 is that the life that used to excite you is now running on autopilot. And here's what I mean. You wake up, you know exactly what the day holds. Your routine is dialed in, efficient, reliable, and predictable. And from the outside, everything looks perfectly fine. Your home, your relationships, your calendar. But internally, something has quietly shifted. The things that used to feel meaningful now feel mechanical. Like you're going through the motions of a life that fits perfectly on paper, but doesn't quite fit you anymore. Now, I want to be careful here because this is easy to misread. This isn't ingratitude or depression. This is what happens when you grow beyond the version of yourself who built this chapter. Growth always creates friction before it creates clarity. And if that quiet restlessness sounds familiar, hold on to it, because that's just the beginning. The next sign tends to feel much more personal. Sign number 2, you started questioning the roles you've carried for decades. Let me paint a picture. You're at a dinner party and someone says, "Tell me about yourself." And for the first time, maybe ever, you pause. Because the answers that used to come automatically, wife, manager, mother, the responsible one, the helper, suddenly feel incomplete, like you're reading from a script someone else handed you. And for years, most of us defined ourselves through these roles, and they were real, and they mattered, and they shaped who you are. But at some point, often quietly, even without specific trigger, you start asking questions you didn't used to ask. Who am I when no one needs anything from me? What do I actually want? Not what am I supposed to want? Is this still the life I would choose if I were choosing today? These questions feel uncomfortable and sometimes even disloyal, but I want you to hear me clearly. This questioning, it's not a midlife crisis. It's a midlife awakening, and it leads directly to the 3rd sign, the one that almost no one talks about, because sign 3 often feels like something has gone terribly wrong, but it hasn't. Stay with me here, because what I'm about to share may be the most important thing you hear today. Sign 3 is you feel a grief you can't quite name. This one catches women completely off guard because it doesn't look like readiness. It looks like something's deeply wrong. It shows up as sadness without a clear source. Nostalgia for a life you haven't lost yet, or maybe one you're not sure you ever really had. A heaviness that settles in on quiet Sunday evenings when the house is still and the to-do list is finally empty. And because it has no obvious cause, most women do one of 2 things. They either push through it or they start Googling, "Am I depressed?" But here's what that grief actually is. Reinvention requires release. You cannot walk fully into a new chapter while still carrying every piece of the old one. And somewhere deep in your nervous system, your psyche, your soul, your deepest self knows this. So it begins to grieve. Not because your life is over, but because a version of you is ready to step aside. And that's not a crisis. That's courage. Before we go any further, I want to pause. If you already recognize yourself in 2 or 3 of these signs, I want you to hear this. You're not behind, and you're not broken. You're not too late. You may simply be standing at the doorway of your next chapter, and you just haven't walked through it yet. The last two signs we're about to look at are actually the most hopeful ones. Sign 4 is that you feel pulled toward things that once felt unrealistic. This one's subtle, but if you pay attention, you'll recognize it. Ideas have started coming back. The dream you set aside in your 30s because it wasn't the right time. The thing you told yourself you'd do someday, when the kids were grown, when work slowed, when everything settled. Maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's writing, or going back to school, or moving somewhere that actually lights you up. Doing work that feels like it means something, and you dismiss it almost the moment it appears. Be realistic. That ship has sailed. But here's what that pull was really telling you. You're not regressing. You're not fantasizing. You're beginning to access the vision of your next chapter. And the fact that it feels both exciting and terrifying, that is exactly how reinvention is supposed to feel. Sign 5 is that you're done performing and you're not sure who you are without it. This is the quietest sign of all, and maybe the most honest thing a woman can admit. At some point, you realize that a lot of what you've been doing, some of it for decades, has been performance. Performing competence when you felt uncertain. Performing calm when you felt overwhelmed. Performing I'm fine when you weren't. And one day you find yourself exhausted by the performance. Not because you're weak, because you're finally honest. The women I've worked with who reach this point describe it the same way. I just want to live a life that actually feels like me. And that's not selfishness, and that's not a breakdown. That's the clearest signal that your most authentic chapter is waiting. Now, I want to know which one of these 5 signs felt most familiar to you. Was it the restlessness, the questioning of your roles, the quiet unnamed grief, the pull towards something new, or the exhaustion of the performance? Leave it in the comments, even if it's just a number. Sign 1, sign 3, sign 5. Because the women watching this video alongside you are feeling the exact same thing. And sometimes just knowing that makes it easier to move forward. Now, I don't want you to close this video and just move on with your day. I want you to give yourself 5 minutes tonight or this weekend to do one thing. Write down one honest answer to this question. If I were starting a new chapter today, what would I want more of? Not what you should want, not what's practical, but what you actually want. Is it more peace, more purpose, more creativity, more honesty, more space just to be yourself? You don't need a full plan yet. You just need to start listening, because clarity begins with attention, and attention begins with you deciding what you feel matters. If any of these signs resonated, and especially if you're not sure which stage of reinvention you're actually in, I've created a short next chapter quiz that helps you identify exactly where you are right now. Because some of you are just beginning to feel the ground shift beneath you, while others are already in motion and don't realize it yet. And where you are determines what you need most. The quiz takes about 5 minutes, and that kind of clarity changes everything. Once you've taken it, I'd also recommend downloading the free Reinvention Roadmap, which is a practical guide that shows you what to do with what you just discovered. Both are in the description below. Start with the quiz and let the roadmap show you what comes next. Now, once a woman recognizes these 5 signs, and once she starts feeling that pull towards something more, she almost always runs into the same invisible wall, a pattern she didn't choose, a script she was handed decades ago and never thought to question. We were taught, be polite, keep the peace, don't take up too much space, be easy to work with. And don't misunderstand, those things aren't wrong. They can even be beautiful until they stop being choices and they become obligations. Until the life you built starts feeling too small for who you've become. In the next video, we're going to talk about the good girl script, where it came from and why it's quietly been running your life, and exactly how to break free from it without losing yourself in the process. Because you've spent enough time making yourself smaller, and it's time to stop. That video drops Thursday. Hit subscribe and tap the bell now so it comes straight to you, because this is one you don't want to find 2 weeks late. Don't waste your time trying to be who you were in your 20s and 30s. Be who you are now. I'm Dr. Linda, and I'll see you in the next video.